Welcome back, everyone, for another Mellow Monday. So, we're continuing on from where we left off with some Marvel United figures here. So, we were working last week on Daredevil and got him finished. I did a little bit of work off stream just to basically do some like detail work as far as like some shading and stuff like that. I do want to try to do that more on stream if I can. So if the stream runs a little bit longer, so be it, kind of thing. As long as my dog is still happy, that's really all that matters. Also, I realize how, looking on this, sorry, I'm just going to adjust the mic a tad. There we go. I've realized, looking back at my previous streams, how utterly terrible the video quality is on the webcam for this. I've tried to do as best I can with the webcam I have, but it has no manual focus on it. Nor does it appear to have autofocus, surprisingly enough. So it's just got one standard focal length, and I haven't figured out where exactly that is. So unfortunately, dealing a little bit with that at the same time. But what I have done is I've ordered a document camera, because that seems to be recommended highly online for doing miniature streaming and stuff like that. So that should be coming in this week. So next week I'll be able to actually stream and hopefully have substantially better video quality and something where I can actually like focus on the mini and have it show up nicely. And hopefully like, because right now I'm working with a ring light too. I'm working as best I can with what I have, but it's not cutting the mustard, as it were. So next week's stream should be substantially better as far as the video quality goes, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. But yeah, I just wanted to show off how Daredevil came out. I think this is probably the best one I've done so far. I could have done a little bit more work on the base, honestly. The base is not the best quality, but the figure itself, I think, is probably the best I have done so far. If you want to see a good version of this, I took a picture in the little light box thing that I ordered online a while ago for photography that I've never used up until this point. But I took some pictures of Daredevil, as well as the other figures that I've painted on stream already, and I put them up on my Twitter feed. So if you want to go check it out, there should be a link in the About Me part of Twitch to get at my Twitter page. That way you can go take a look at how they came out. I warn you in advance, Twitter is a terrible, terrible place, but that is the social media that I use. So if you want to go check out, see how the other figures look with a decent camera pointed at them, yeah, they'll be available there. So for now, what we're going to be working on this week is we're going to be working on Rocket Raccoon. I like the figure for this one quite a bit. Like, they're definitely going for the MCU style on this one. As you can tell, like, the gun very much is based off of his MCU incarnation. Also, the suit is very much the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That style of suit. Even if you look at the artwork for the game, it's very inspired by that movie, which I can't really blame them, because you know what? It was a really good movie, and it did a lot with the characters. So yeah, we're going to be working on Rocket today. And to make things a little bit nicer for the viewers as well, I wanted to make sure that you guys had a look at the reference picture that I'm using for doing the painting. So let me see if I got this set up right. There we go. So it's Rocket Raccoon that you've seen in the movies. Nothing special. But that's what we're going to be using for the reference photo that I'm going to be using for the paint job for this. So I'm actually going to pull up that picture on my own over here. That way I can take a look at it too. Cool. That is pulled up. Let me just size this down a tad so I can still see the stream. There we go. Cool. So yeah, that is what we are going to be working on today. And I need to get some paints mixed up for this. So, I am gonna start working on the body first, because that is where a lot of the colors are gonna be. Like, the suits will probably be next after that, the gun after that, and then, you know, we'll do the base a little bit and then start working on all the detail work. There are quite a few colors on this one in comparison to the other ones that we've been doing, so it'll be a lot, but it'll be a fun time. So what we're gonna work on first, you know what, I'm looking at this. As much as the suit takes up a lot of space, if you look at the reference photo, the suit is a lot of the color in this, but they do like a chibi style for all the characters, so they've got very big heads, very small bodies. So yeah, the body is going to get more paint on this, so we're going to do the body first. So let's grab, I've got a flat earth, whoops, can't really get that with the shine. It's a Tamiya, I'm using Tamiya paints as usual. We're going with Flat Earth, which is the XF52. Going to use that for the brown parts of the fur. So that's the primary one that's going to be going on there. I will probably be doing a... Taking a look real quick. For the more blackish parts of the fur, I think we're going to go with a dark gray. I might mix a little bit of black into that just to try to deepen the color a little bit. But yeah, we're going to go with the dark gray, which is the XF24 in Tamiya, for the darker parts of the fur. And I will probably lighten up... Actually, you know what? We're going to go with, for the lighter parts of the fur, the Deck Tan XF55. We're going to do that for the lighter parts, like the snout and just above the eyes. That'll look good. So, let's... You know what? I gotta shake up this paint first before I actually start throwing it out on the palette. So let's do that real quick. Also, let me know how I sound. I did some sound testing before the stream, but always appreciate inputs. Helps me know if I sound alright. I did notice when I was doing some sound testing earlier, I sound a little echoey, I think. I tinkered around with it as much as I can, and I don't know what the setting is that I have that's making me sound echoey. It wasn't echoey before, so I'm not sure what changed. So we'll make do with what we got. But yeah, just know that if it sounds echoey, it's not your computer. I heard it when I was doing some sound testing earlier, so it seems like that's just going to be the case, unfortunately. I will try to fix it next time. So do know that I will be playing on my desktop computer for tomorrow's Throwback Log Tuesday, where I'll be playing some more Gravity Rush 2. And that is on a different rig. I'm still using the same microphone for it, but the mixer's different, the computer's different, so I shouldn't have echo on that, but I'll double check it when I go to do it as well, just to see if that is all right. Let's see, we're gonna use this. Might be a tad small. You know what? Let me take a look. It's going to be a lot of the figures, so like the head, the arms. Just taking a look real quick. Got a little bit of stringy stuff from doing the primer. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? This brush is fine. This brush will work. So let's just give this a quick mix. Make sure this is still good. Dip this in here. Oh, I forgot to go grab a paper towel. I will be right back. Sorry. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, we look to be good. I can't think of anything else I need. So let's get painting. You know, we're gonna wet this up a little bit more, that way I got a little bit better of a point on there. There we go. That's looking way better. So let's get started on this. So yeah, ooh, that might be a little thin. I might need to add a little bit more paint to that. Yeah, you know what? That's coming in a little thin. Hang on. We're going to add a little bit more to the palette just to try to even this out, because That is coming in just a tad too thin, and I'm worried that it's gonna just not coat as well as it should. You don't want it to glop on, but at the same time, you don't want it to just completely spread out from the figure that I'm trying to paint on. So cool. All right, let's see if this works a little bit better. Give that a quick mix. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. That should work. All right, so we've got, we're just going to do a quick coat over the areas that should be this color. We are going to do the back of these tufts of fur as well. We're going to do that in this what is this? Flat earth color. Man, I don't know if they really put a lot of thought into the name of that paint when they made it. I understand it's the earth color, and it's the flat type of it, meaning that it's not glossy. But that has a whole new connotation in this day and age. So yeah. But I think, yeah, that's looking like that's a pretty good version of this color for this part of the fur. And then when we go to do the highlighting and low lighting and all that, we'll use this again to change the color up on that a little bit better. Alright, it's looking pretty good. So how's everyone been out there? I hope everyone's been doing well. God knows, some of these weeks can be pretty rough sometimes, but I'm hoping that everyone's been doing well, and I hope my streams help give you a little bit of a break during the week, because I know how rough it can be sometimes. Alright, so let's take a look at this real quick. So the tip of the tail should be black according to the reference I've got, so we're gonna alternate here. I've got these nice little ridges to show us where the stripes are. So, not that it especially matters, we could do this however we wanted, but I'm gonna try to keep it pretty close to what our reference looks like. Within reason, like, this figure is obviously not exactly like what I have for the reference, so... And we're going to go a little bit over on certain areas, just because, as with anything, I want to make sure we've got plenty of coverage. So, if it's a little sloppy, that doesn't really matter. It's all going to get fixed in the end. Also, went with a little bit of a different choice for music today, so picked out a nice little YouTube channel that had some pretty chill music to listen to, so we can start having some of that going. And thankfully, it's royalty free, so I won't have problems, or shouldn't have problems, hopefully, while I'm streaming with it. I've also realized that my previous streams, because I'm not a Twitch affiliate yet, my previous VODs are on a timer, essentially, for when they're going to get taken down. and that that kind of stinks to have lose access to that stuff. So I have gone through and set up a well, I set up a YouTube channel a long time ago, but just never did anything with it. Like, it's just been sitting there unused. So I have set up a YouTube channel that people can go to if they would like to look back at some of my previous streams. I'm still working on getting everything exported up to there, but I have at least the miniature streams backed up there so far. So yeah, if you ever want to go look back at stuff, I will try to get the VODs after I'm done streaming. I'll try to get those put up on the YouTube channel as soon as possible. I also need to go through and actually get the link to the YouTube channel set up in Twitch and all that. Literally, I was just getting everything set up today, so I have not had a lot of time to go through and get things set up to point to there. So please know that I will have a link to my YouTube channel in the About Me part of Twitch real soon, so that you can go get at that when you want. I will also eventually set up Nightbot to point to it. This is very spur of the moment today. I was literally going through and going, oh no, I'm losing all of my all of my VODs steadily, because they just over time go away because I'm not affiliate, so they don't hold on to them. So yeah, so it's just like, okay, well, let me export what I have to the YouTube channel I was never using, and we'll get those exported. So that's all I've done so far, is just get the stuff exported. Still need to actually, like, do all the work on getting the channel looking better, both the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel. So I will be doing that, but at the same time I'm also working a day job, so trying to do all that while still getting my work done is a little rough. So, but thank you for bearing with me while I work on this and try to get this looking a bit more professional. I definitely want to make this a fun stream for everyone and have it look decent as well. So sorry a sec. Let's do this because sorry, my nose is running just a little bit. Tell ya, it's pretty nice having central air, because otherwise I think I would be really badly off from allergies. This, thankfully, is pretty minimal as far as what I'm having for allergic reactions right now. Oh, this figure's got some really fun little nooks and crannies to try to get paint into. see if I can get it there. Also, I've gone through and this time around, I've added the Twitch chat to the stream window, because if I'm getting the VODs uploaded to YouTube, it'd be nice to keep the Twitch chats as part of that too. So yeah. Don't know if I will do anything with the YouTube channel aside from use it as a VOD archive, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do other stuff on it, but at least at the moment, it's pretty much just going to be acting as my archive site for the VODs, so that they don't disappear. Because, unfortunately, all of the VODs from when I was doing the Dark Cloud stream, that's all gone. It's all lost, unfortunately. So, we're going to try to make sure that we don't lose that stuff anymore. But anyway, I'm just droning on and on about that. Yeah. So, I'm liking how this is coming out so far. I gotta say, like, I became... Like, I didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy at all before the movie got announced, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of people out there. Like, I read Marvel Comics somewhat, but not too extensively. The movie got announced way back, and I saw a picture of the characters, or the team, as it were, from the comics. I saw the picture and I'm like, what is this? So I ended up going to read the comics where the team that was represented in the film, that Guardians of the Galaxy, went to see when they were first introduced to the comics as a team, and gave that a read, and it was really, really good. I feel like they did a very good job with the material. Especially Rocket was a pretty good representation of how I thought he would sound and stuff in the comics. Granted, in the comics, with his phrasing, you feel like the voice would be a bit more British than anything, but I feel like Bradley Cooper did a pretty good job at what I thought the voice would sound like. You know, just like anything, nothing's going to be 100% perfect for what you hear in your head, aside from, like I said last time, Deadpool is one of those things where it was exactly how it sounded in my head, because what I heard was Ryan Reynolds doing the voice of Deadpool in my head, so it ended up being hyper accurate to what I expected. Yeah, so like the whole team was pretty good. Star-Lord was a little off from what I was expecting. Not that Chris Pratt did a bad job. I think he did a very good job at playing Star-Lord, and especially the version of Star-Lord that they went with for the movie. Gamora was different, but I think Gamora was different in a good way. I like her character in the comics, but I feel like they kind of objectify her a little bit too much in the comics. Just visually, like, so yeah, like, I feel like the version that they did for the screen is way better. Drax is kind of a mixed bag. I like him in the movie. He's he's very funny. I like him a lot in the movie. But the character is pretty vastly different in the comics. But you know, as with anything, I think it was a decently good change that they went with for him. One thing that I would love to see in the movie, because they've made reference to him once so far. I would like to see more of him because he was one of my favorite characters in the Guardians comics. Was Cosmo, the space dog. He pops up as a cameo appearance in the first movie. He was in the collector's collection. He was the dog that was wearing a cosmonaut suit. He is not... Well, I guess he's part of the Guardians, kinda, in a couple spots, but at least in the beginning, he is the security chief for the station Nowhere that they operate out of. And he's a telepathic, telekinetic dog that gained intelligence, or sentience, I should say. So, yeah, no, he's a very fun character. They kind of just put him in there as a joke cameo kind of thing, which is fine. But it'd be nice to see them like do more with him, kind of thing. He's a great character in the comics, so it'd be a lot of fun if they actually went through and put him in there as well. Where did I put? Oh, did I just already rinse off the thing? I might have just already rinsed it off. I'm losing my mind. I can't figure out if I already... I guess I already washed off the paintbrush. Looks like it. Let's see. I want to do a little bit smaller for... it might be too small, but we'll see. So. Let's take a look. So, eye area is going to be a lot of the dark gray, almost black kind of paint. Yeah, actually, you know what? This whole thing is going to be that color. Yeah. The snout will be the lighter thing, the deck tan color, but this whole thing is going to be... I'm going to do this color. And then we'll go through after. Kind of like hit the tips of the eyebrows with the lighter color. There. Also, Groot was a little different in the movie versus the comic. Not like tremendously so. Like there's a little bit more backstory with him in the comics. Like they do that, but aside from that, pretty much the same. When he's initially in there, he does talk. When I say talk, I mean like he didn't just say "I am Groot" all the time. But then they changed almost immediately in the comics after that to just having him say "I am Groot" all the time. So I'm not quite sure why there was the change, but I like it. I thought it gave him a lot of character. Let's try to get into that little spot. Man, there's not a lot to work with. There we go. Alright, so get this. But yeah, much like the first Guardians film, in the comic where they weren't really a team yet. They were working together, but they weren't part of a team yet. There was like a war that was going on. So they were working together, and Groot, did end up sacrificing himself to save everyone. And very much like the movie, ends up coming back. Rocket grows him back from a twig that remained. So they kept that very much the same too. Did not go through the teenage phase that Groot in the movie did, though. He didn't go like from baby to adolescent. Basically, it was a twig for a bit, and then came back as full size not too long after that. But it was, you know, the first Guardians was a very good movie. I liked it a lot. The second one is amazing and a gut punch. That ending gets me every time. Like, I even have trouble watching video essays talking about Guardians 2, because yeah, that movie is so full of heart. It's just extremely good. I might need to get a smaller paintbrush for doing this part. You know, we're going to do big strokes first, then we'll go in with the smaller brush and try to hit all the edges that we need to. It's just like there's a few little areas that I need to get with small detail brush. Go. Yeah, we'll have to do a little bit more when it comes to like detail work, but that's looking pretty good so far. I'm very much looking forward to Guardians 3. That one's been a long time coming, and it'll be nice to see them together once again, although it's will be the last one that James Gunn says he'll be working on, so I'm guessing that is going to be the last incarnation of this specific version of the team. Doesn't necessarily mean that the characters are going away. I doubt James Gunn is going to, like, kill off all of them. That being said, he is certainly not averse to killing off major characters. I mean, the second movie is poster child of that. Alright, so we're gonna get this cleaned. Alright, cool. I need my detail brush. That's this one. Whoops. Apparently, I need to get a new detail brush. You know what? This one still works. It's just the, it comes off a little bit. So yeah, I'm guessing this is the last version of, or the last time we'll see this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy together. Does not necessarily mean that they are gone, that the characters are going away. At least I hope they're not, because you know what? There's a lot of really fun characters on that team. And it'd be real nice to see them go and do some other stuff. God knows, I would love to see more Rocket and Groot shenanigans, because they are a heck of a team just by themselves, and it would seem appropriate because they are just so dang close. I mean, heck, they are the bounty hunting team at they are a bounty hunting team at the beginning of the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, so it would seem appropriate for them to go on some further adventures, not necessarily with the rest of the Guardians. It might be the last time we see Star-Lord and possibly Gamora. Like, the big thing is that I think the third film is going to be very focused on Star-Lord and Gamora, because their whole thing has been interrupted by Thanos. So we've got Gamora, who is not the Gamora that Star-Lord was involved with, because she unfortunately died during Infinity War in order to get the Soul Stone. So that is unfortunate, but I you know, it's gonna do a lot to work with. It's gonna give them a lot to work with in the third movie, because the Gamora that's in the universe now is the Gamora that was working with Thanos during Endgame. So, had not met Star-Lord yet. But yeah, it should be an interesting movie. I'm hoping to see more of Mantis. She was very fun. She's... Okay, if we're talking about difference from comic book to screen, you know, Drax is a decent departure. Mantis is a huge departure from the comics. The general design of her is about the same. Although in the comics she's green, not, you know, like, pale flesh tone type, color. So she's green in the comics, which is a drastic visual change. But she is also a super competent fighter in the comics. Not so much so in the movies. So yeah, she was quite a change. She's fun in the movies. I like her. But I'd be lying if I said that I prefer her in comparison to the comics. She's very weird in the comics. I like her weirdness a lot in the comics. And she's a very, very, very capable member of the team. Hey, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do his lower legs. I still got that paint there, so we can fix that. So let's work on that real quick. I think I just need to give this a little bit of a mix. It's going to be rough, but I think I can work it. Worst that happens is I need to mix a new one. Nah, that'll work just fine. This is good because we need to do a little bit of A little bit of work on the tail still, as far as the brown goes. There's some spots that I missed, so this works out perfect for us. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see more of Mantis too. I'd like to see more of how she continues to evolve with the team and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. Oh, also, because I've been talking about it on this stream quite a bit. I have been watching through the MCU stuff, all the stuff that I missed, because I watched most of the Netflix shows, did not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., did not watch Agent Carter when it was coming out, stuff like that. So I've been watching through in order all the stuff that I missed. So that was I went through a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Went through Agent Carter, both seasons of that. It's a shame that they canceled that show, because they left a huge cliffhanger at the end of season 2 that just never got delivered on, so that's really disappointing. Plus, I would have loved to see Haley Atwell do more stuff with Carter, because she's very good in the role. Granted, she gets, like, cameos here and there, but it would be nice. It would have been nice to see her do more with the character. There were plenty more stories to do with her. But I'm getting distracted here. I brought up the topic because I finished off season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was both the best and worst season of the show. It was all ups and downs. Like, I enjoyed the stuff with Ghost Rider a ton. Robbie Reyes was a great character in that season. And he had a great arc on that show. And then it just abruptly stopped. And just like, okay. I thought Ghost Rider was going to be the main focus of the season, but I was wrong. Yeah, he's in like the first 5, 8 episodes, something like that. And his arc is like the arc that they're focused on. And then it just ends abruptly. Like, it's just like, oh, it's done. Which was a real bummer. Because I was like, oh, I want more of this. I want to see more of this. Granted, they kind of tie him back in, but it's shaky. So it's just like, The Ghost Rider stuff was really good. Some of the stuff dealing with the LMDs was interesting. But I felt they did it very awkwardly. Like, some of the stuff with the LMDs was really good. Episode in particular that I really liked with the LMDs was there was a point in time where there were, like, several LMDs that had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D., and you are trying to figure out who is the LMD. Now, granted, it's kind of revealed pretty early on, but it was an interesting kind of the Thing situation. So, like, that was a fun little story. The rest of the LMD stuff, when it comes to, like, Ada was an interesting character for what she was. I feel like it really, like, she got more interesting as it went on. And then the change over to Ophelia, the Ophelia personality, was a real bummer. Like, going into spoilers here, Ada is a life model decoy that Radcliffe created. So, android with a artificial intelligence. They set up for a lot of interesting stuff with dealing with sentience and, you know, what is life kind of thing. Can a robot only simulate emotions? That kind of thing. It gets into a lot of stuff that, you know, like Star Trek has done a very good, or Next Generation especially, has done a very good job of handling of, hey, you know, do we consider these beings to be living, or are they just faking it, essentially? Very cool implications. But, like, the last couple episodes of the season, well, to back it up a bit, they do a whole plugging people into the Matrix, essentially, which I was like, but it ended up being interesting. For the most part, I do feel like it did some characters pretty dirty, but overall was an interesting aspect that they went into with it. So the whole point of that was she was doing basically rapid evolution. Ada was doing rapid evolution of her own programming inside of the framework, along with a lot of the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was like, okay, interesting. Then it's, you know, the reveal of, oh, she's designing a device with fits, both in the framework, virtual world, and in the real world, so that she can make a body for herself, a real flesh and blood body, and put her mind into it. And again, interesting enough going into the general idea of what is sentience and stuff like that, and can an AI gain sentience? Interesting enough. But then once she is in the real world, she goes into jealous, crazy... She goes into jealous, crazy mode with regards to Fitz. Because inside the framework, she got involved with him. She became Madam Hydra within the framework. But she was involved with Fitz. They were together. So once freed of the framework, both Fitz and her, with her going as Ophelia once she got out of the framework. Yeah, it was just a situation of she went into crazy monster mode, and it's just like, like, I can kind of understand that you want to deal with the ramifications of she is still very new as far as emotions go. So having her have to deal with heartbreak is something that was an interesting concept, but she just immediately goes into like murderbot rage when Fitz decides that, no, you know what? I did not have full consent going into the framework, so dealing with that is pretty extreme, you know? The lack of consent on his parts, combined with her just going cuckoo nuts balls right away as soon as she has to deal with the fact that, hey, he does not love you outside of this artificial environment that you created, that you dumped him into without him consenting to it, kind of thing. So, like, there's that. It did not feel great. It made her less interesting of a character to go immediately into, like, murderbot rage. So, that was pretty disappointing. I feel like they could have done a better job with her as a character. It felt like a real letdown. So it had some good highs, some really bad lows. It was it was a mix of a season, to put it that way. Could have done a better job. But yeah, so it's yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I would like to see a redo of that. Now, granted, at this point, it doesn't really matter. But to go from previous seasons where I liked the first season of the show well enough. It was a fun show, first season. I liked how it tied into Captain America, Winter Soldier very well. Did a really good job there. But outside of that, the second season was forgettable for me. The third season, equally so. I can't really remember what happened during it. So, yeah, it was mixed. Like, I didn't really enjoy the second or third season. But yeah, the fourth season was like, oh man, I'm actually like involved in these episodes now. I'm watching these intently. When it was the Daredevil, or not the Daredevil, the Ghost Rider stuff. And let me tell you, with the way the season ended, it's like, okay. And it's like, I know they didn't do Ghost Rider stuff after that, so I looked it up, and it's like, oh, they had originally planned on doing a spin-off for Ghost Rider, but they canceled it. Like, it was supposed to go on Hulu, I think, and it got thrown out. It's just like, why? This character was great. I would have loved to see more of him. So yeah, it's... would have been nice to see more. Too bad we didn't get to. But now I'm getting to... so I finished up Season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I am now 3 or 4 episodes into Marvel's Inhumans, which has been a mixed bag. It's pretty enjoyable. I like the characters for the most part. But it's got some weird writing in it. So like it's weird. The Inhumans are this royal family that lead a race of Inhumans that live on the moon, which, you know, like, it's from the comics. It's cool. So like, there's that. Maximus in the first episode he's the villain. He was an interesting character at the beginning because he very much comes from the basis of... comes in the vein of this is a villain that I somewhat agree with, although that becomes less so in the later episodes. Because at the beginning, and this is probably just a situation of this is his ploy to get into power. But he is very much a character that comes from the standpoint of he disagrees with the caste system that is put upon the people of Adelan, which, yes, agreed. I do not like that there was a caste system built into the whole thing, and it's like, yeah, should there be a royal family? Probably not. Stuff like that. Totally on board with that part. I feel like Maximus was written to kind of just fake that he was in support of there not being a caste system, which is less interesting when it comes down to it. The characters are kind of interesting. Like Black Bolt, as they keep going through and going into like flashbacks and stuff like that. Like, he is an interesting character. Like they go into like the backstories of a lot of the characters in flashbacks, and you know, take it as you will for using that as a storytelling aspect, like, it can be kind of but like I was saying, you know, Black Bolt is an interesting character from a standpoint of why he doesn't use his power. And it's not because, you know, it's not because of the fact that he could potentially wipe out the city, which he could, but he can not be as loud when he goes to do his thing. So there's, you know, he has the ability to limit how much damage he does. But when it goes into the backstory, then it becomes more clear why he limits his use of his power, which that was nice. I liked that. Where the show loses me a little bit is dealing with them getting exiled to Earth and dealing with their lack of knowledge. Like, it's a very fish out of water story when they get to Earth, which is fine, but a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. They're a society on Adelan that is very, very, very futuristic in its technology. So you've got that. But when they show up on Earth, Medusa seems perfectly fine with dealing with technology to a certain extent. She goes to an ATM and doesn't understand how an ATM works, which, fair. But Black Bolt, when he first gets to Earth, he's in the middle of the road, seemingly oblivious to cars driving at him, when again, you look over at Medusa. When she gets to Earth, she understands what a car is, what a bus is. So they know what vehicles are. So Black Bolt standing in the middle of the road, not understanding vehicles coming at him, was very weird. Like the inconsistent knowledge that they have is kind of really bugs me a lot. Because, again, going into that, when he is, you know, standing in the middle of the streets, people run up and are taking videos of him on their cell phones, their smartphones. And he whips around, grabs the smartphone from someone, which, you know, sure, maybe you think it's a weapon. But he looks at the thing, sees a picture of himself, starts twisting the phone around, and looks at it weird because he can't understand what a smartphone is. But they all have these little wrist communicators, which, if it was just down to, oh, they have wrist communicators that basically just act as, you know, a phone that is strapped to your wrist kind of thing. Like, no smartphone part, just phone. Like, if it was just that, it'd be a little bit easier to understand, not fully just because of the fact that, again, very technologically advanced society, you would expect them to understand the general gist of what a cell phone is. But later on, it's shown that their wrist communicators can be detached from their wrist and then unfolded into a screen that looks very much like a smartphone. So, how is Black Bolt incapable of understanding what a smartphone is when he's got one strapped to his wrist? It's small stuff like that that just kind of brings me out of it. Like, it's not enough to, you know, it's minor stuff. It's not something that's going to completely ruin a series for me. I'm not one of those people that's just like, oh, I'm gonna nitpick absolutely everything and not enjoy it because I can't look past all these small details. That is not my intention. But it takes me out of it quite a bit. But getting beyond that, the general premise of the show is not too bad. I like the exile storyline. It's interesting. Sorry, I gotta remix this paint because it's getting a little too goopy. There we go. Yeah, like the premise of the show is interesting. It's a fish out of water story. It's hard to go wrong with that. The woman, part of it is like, you know, it's the story from all these different characters because they're all separated, which I swear if they are separated up until the last episode, that's going to be like, oh god, why? Because I know for a fact that they only did one season of this, so it's going to be a heck of a thing if they didn't do anything with these characters after the fact. I guess I'm getting ready to be disappointed. But yeah, so I hope this is picking up okay on camera. I'm trying to do the mouth right now, which is a little difficult to do. But yeah, so like you're seeing the story from all these different characters' perspectives. And one of them is Karnak, I want to say. I think it's Karnak is his name. His ability gets all messed up because basically he's able to kind of see how things will play out based off of like math and force and all this stuff, and it's like an interesting ability. When he hits his head, when he arrives on Earth, that gets all messed up, so he is very distressed because he doesn't feel like he's useful anymore. So he ends up meeting up with this group of pot farmers, and one of the pot farmers' girlfriend, like, just immediately, like, she is immediately just into Karnak. Like, it's just so like they hook up on the second, maybe third day that he's there. It's like, really? That seems kind of quick, but I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. This is also coming from me. Like, I don't know that I am the perfect person to be judging that either, so... But yeah, so like that is kind of a little bogus. I do hope that the series continues to be interesting, though. Like I'm bringing up these complaints I have because I do ultimately like the show. It's certainly more interesting than some of the seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have been. So it's like I want to see this, do well. Now, I obviously know that it didn't do well because it got canceled after a season, which was only 8 episodes. So I will take that as as it is, I guess. So like, yeah, I need to work on this a little bit faster. Let's see. I need shiny black. So this is regular black. This is X1. Because I need to do his eyes. He's got very tiny little eyes. And the reason I'm using regular black and not flat black is I actually want the shine because it's going to be his eyes. So I'd like those to be shiny. Okay, let's see if I can get this to show up really well on camera. Yeah. I feel like I need to go back through this. To touch up the eyes a bit more. Yeah, because, like, I already screwed up one of the eyes. But nothing that another layer of paint won't fix, so... So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go a little bit heavy on covering up the area there, because then what we can do is we can paint over it to fix that, and it will help cover a little bit of what we did already. There we go. So we'll take this because we're going to do the snout again. So yeah, it'll be interesting and slightly disappointing to know that, hey, I'm not going to get a lot of closure on like anything Inhumans related because of how it left off. Because I'm sure it probably didn't cover everything that they were going to cover with that show. So that's a little disappointing. Yeah, I could do the eyes a little bit more. Actually, I need to do the nose too, so we're gonna do a little bit more of this black. Because I need to do the nose, and I want the nose to be shiny as well. Alright. Get More of the blackouts. Hang on. Okay, that's... The eyes aren't too bad. I may do another pass on them. Come on. It's like just a little too hard to get on there. Whoops, I clicked out of the window. Nope. Where are you? There you are. There we go. Clicked in. There we go. I'm good again. So yeah. We will continue to work our way through the Inhumans, and then eventually I will be done with that, and I believe the next thing up on the chopping block after I finish Inhumans is the Runaways, if I remember correctly. Which I know a little bit about, not a ton. Everything I know about the Runaways is what I know from reading the Civil War story arc in Marvel Comics, which don't do that to yourself. Learn from my mistake. Don't read the Civil War arc of the comics. It was quite disappointing. Oops, hang on a sec. My phone. There we go. Yeah, like the Civil War arc was. I was hoping it was gonna be a nice. I was hoping that there was going to be like, hey, there's going to be, you know, this is a arc that involves a bunch of different comics. I'm still coming in a little hot on the microphone. It's like there's like, you know, a lot of comics that are part of this. Like we're gonna go deep into this, and it's gonna be really good. And I was like, you know, I feel like I'm gonna get more out of this than the movie did, which granted I loved Captain America Civil War, but I'm like, you know, I'd love to see this from the perspective of it's a bunch of currently running comics that are all going in on this particular arc, this event, right? It is a rough read, folks. Like there's a lot of tie-in stuff, which is what I wanted, but the tie-in stuff is mixed. And every character comes off looking really, really bad in the books. Like Cap is written to be really bad. Tony Stark is definitely the villain of the thing. Like no one comes off looking good in the Civil War comic. Everyone is just terrible. terrible or naive, I guess, would be the case. So, yeah, it's very much a comic that I would say, don't read it. The movie was way better. And took way less time. I get what they were going for with it, but it's done in such a terrible way, and the writing for the characters is just atrocious. Like, Captain America is just written so poorly in it. So, yeah, it's, Civil War is not worth your time. Unless you're watching the movie. The movie is very good. With the exception of, they didn't do a lot with Baron Zemo. So, it was kind of, you know, they kind of wasted that character a little bit. That said, I was stoked to see him come back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And granted, he was, you know, he's in there for very little amount of time, and he feels like a completely different character from the movie. But I was very happy to see him in the show. Oops. Apparently I have something at the door. I'll go grab that later. Yeah, so, like, he's completely different in the show compared to the comics, but they did way more with him in the show. And he was a lot of fun, and he wore the mask, which I was super happy about. Even if it was for very short segments, and there wasn't any rhyme or reason why he was wearing the mask. But that's just the way it goes, I guess. But he was a very fun character, and they announced that they are doing, I forget if it's a show or a movie, but they are doing a Thunderbolts thing, either show or movie, where Baron Zemo in the comics is the lead of that team. So I'm hoping that that is what we're gonna get. Because Thunderbolts would be pretty cool. That was one of the interesting aspects of the Civil War comic that, while it was interesting, I don't, you know, much like the rest of the event, I don't feel like it was done very well. But it made me interested in the Thunderbolts, and I guess that we'll have to do. It, like I said, it's made me interested enough in the Thunderbolts that I am super stoked for what they are going to do for a movie, or like I said, I can't remember if it's a movie or a TV show that they're doing with the Thunderbolts. Either way, I am here for it. I want to see that. Now, one thing I will say that would be even nicer to see with regards to Marvel, and this is not so much a this is not a situation of, hey, I'd like to see this compared to the comics. This is a Disney has a heck of a reckoning to do when it comes to visual effects work, predominantly with Marvel movies. They have been overworking and underpaying visual effects studios, and that is not fair. And I don't care how much I want to see Marvel stuff. I would much rather people be happy in their job. I don't want people to be quitting over being overworked. I want them to be able to do what they are doing and just be happy. Work should never be a thing that is going to impact your health and livelihood and stuff like that. So, here's hoping, and I realize this is me being extremely optimistic, but it would be nice to see Disney actually follow through and give the studios their fair dues. Now, granted, Disney's got a lot of leverage because they're a huge company at this point, which I also have issues with. But this is why things need to very much get to a point where there needs to be better unionization in basically every industry. So that workers are able to protect their rights and actually be involved with making decisions on their labor. And I say this as someone who, unfortunately, does not have... My industry is not unionized for the most part. So, it is something that there needs to be more of, and by more of, I mean everything should be unionized. Because ultimately, workers have more power if they are able to work with each other to make decisions. Because capitalism runs on labor. And if you can actually withhold your labor effectively. I missed this spot. I'm just going to touch it up with some black. If you can effectively withhold your labor through the use of unions and strikes, then you are able to not only have an effect on the industry that you work in, but for bigger things like stuff that we try to vote on, it doesn't matter because they don't ultimately listen, because rich people will always be donating and overriding the choices of the many because they have a lot of money. That situation, guess what? If you can effectively control the labor by having unions and everyone working together as part of an overall union, then you can actually have a voice on stuff like that. Because then you get to situations where you could go on, like, say, a general strike if we were able to pull something off like that. And then we'd be able to effectively bargain for bigger things, like things that are affecting everyone on the planet, stuff like that. Climate legislation in particular would be fantastic to actually see happen, and I feel like labor is the only thing that is going to make politicians listen enough on things like climates, where we try to have a seat at the table for discussing what changes we need to make to make sure that the planet stays habitable for everyone. Right now, we don't really have that, and that is a big problem, because we are on a timer, and we've been on a timer for a while now. I hate to get, dire during a Mellow Monday stream, but we all need to be better about taking care of this place that we call home, that is planet Earth, and it's disappointing that the few people that are in power are doing almost nothing about it, because they get their money from rich people, and the rich people get their money from exploiting labor. And particularly with the oil companies, they don't want to lose all that money. So, yeah. You might be noticing that I'm just going completely black on the gun. That is intentional. If I get everything with a black coat on the gun, then what I can do is I can paint on top of that and give it more color elsewhere, and then I don't have to do all these tiny little crevices with black, with a detail brush. And I realize this is really hard to pick up some of this that I'm doing on camera, because I have to, like, go into... Oh, God. I'm gonna have to redo that. Yeah, going into the crevices, it's really hard to see what I'm doing, camera-wise. It's just the problem with painting something this small and having a ton of little areas that it's really tough to get into. Can I... Nope, that's completely solidified. We are going to take the flat earth, and I'm going to give it a quick brush across the back of the head just to cover up a spot that I got paint on that I didn't intend to. Alright. Let's do some quick touch-up work here. Look at that. Now it looks like it didn't even happen. Alright, so that was that. Sorry, I'm just going through. Did all of the body. You know, let's work on the gun a bit. So we got gunmetal, which is going to be the base for a lot of the gun. Because if you look at the picture of the gun, like, it's a lot of metal pieces and then a lot of the bigger parts of the gun. So here's what I'm using. So using, if it shows up, there we go, gunmetal X10 for the more metallic parts of the gun underneath the plating, and then the plating I'm going to go NATO brown, which is XF68. So yeah, I'm going to get this opened up. Now with metal stuff, I don't want to dilute it. It won't, like, putting water into it is going to make the metal color disperse more. So I'm going to just go with taking it straight out of the cap. Alright, so let's do a quick cover of a lot of the parts of this that are, you know what, we'll just go kind of over everything, because what we're going to actually end up doing is I will go over after with, like, we're just going to hit a lot of these areas, and then what I will end up doing is I'm going to paint over the metal with the NATO brown. But what this does is this makes it so that we get good coverage everywhere. And the black is there so that we got like we got the deep crevices and we didn't have to try to do some detail work on the inside of those. We don't need to do super detailed painting of this gunmetal, because if it's missing in some spots, that just gives it some character. Worst that happens is we just got some missing spots of metal, and what that means is it's just going to look like it's very aged. There we go. Hit this back area back here. There we go. Yeah, I gotta say, that gunmetal is looking pretty good. Given a lot of character to this. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That is pretty good. Let's make sure we get the inside of this a little bit. Again, this is mostly just making sure that we get plenty of coverage. That way, if we missed some spots, it won't really matter much. There we go. That's about all we need for gunmetal. So, got that. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. we're gonna do a flat blue for the barrel of the gun. Because if you notice, it kind of lights up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do flat blue. We're just gonna take it straight out of the cap. Through the small brush just so we can try to minimize how much overage we do. So what we'll do is we get the blue nice and spread out in there. We're probably going to have to do another pass just to try to get this. Actually, you know what? We don't even need to, because ultimately what we're going to do is we hit it with blue, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to turn the painter palette around. We're going to put some blue in here, and then we're going to lighten it up. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do our fade to lighter blue. That way, if you look at the reference photo, the barrel of the gun has a dark blue edge to a very close to white blue in the middle. So we're gonna do that. So we'll do that. Throw a little bit of white in there. We're gonna have to use a different one because I don't want to contaminate the whites. There we go. There we go. Alright, let me hold this there. Now I can mix it. So yeah, if we do it this way, then we can lighten up the blue, and we can do smaller and smaller area until the middle, where it's going to be almost completely white. There. Let's throw a little bit of water in it. There we go. And then what we can do is we can just continue to use this part of the pot, because what we're going to do is we're just going to keep lightening this up. So we do that, like so. Alright, that should be dry enough. Alright, so do this. And we'll just keep throwing a smaller and smaller area with a lighter and lighter color. Alright, so that's good like that. We'll throw in a little bit more white. And here's what I'm going to do this time around. I'm going to throw the white. Nope, actually, because I have to put it in here, so I'm just going to do that. Just gotta get that very well mixed. So we don't have any streaking in it. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Okay. that. Hang on a sec. Just wanted to dry it off a tad before I go and put this in here, so. Might be a little too moist. Alright. Yeah, like I need to kind of hold it like that, because otherwise it's going to pool down in the corner. You know what? I've actually got helping hands for this. I'm going to go grab those. I'll be right back. There we go. So, generally these are used for assembly, but these things are already assembled, and I don't really need it for the assembly part. I need it for keeping that like that, so that the paint doesn't pool in one corner. So we'll do that. Need to throw a little bit more of this flat white in here. Just keep getting this lighter and lighter. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to throw that off to the side for right now. Grab this out, and I just need to get most of the water out of there, that way it's not super wet. Okay, so we got that. Let's see if I'm just going to bring this down this way a little bit, so that way I can sorry for kind of doing it awkwardly, but I'm trying to stabilize my hand as I'm going over it, so my hand doesn't shake as much. Alright, I think I need to do even more white on this. There we go. So we're really going for almost completely white in the middle. I think I can do maybe one more after this, because that's about all the space I have to work with. Okay, so alright, so we're gonna actually double dip on this one. So I want to really get this as close to white as possible without being just white paint. Yeah, we need to do more than that. There we go. Okay. Give this a good mixing. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna hit this, and then I'm just gonna do straight white for just like a dot in the center. Alright. Here we go. God, my hand shakes so much. There we go. Alright, so then I'm just going to do a dot of white in the center. There. A little bit more on there. That will do. Alright, let me just give this a blow real quick. Okay. Alright, here we go. Balance my hands as best I can on this. There we go. It kind of works. I think it looks pretty good for what it's doing. And then, you know what? For the scope, we're going to make it like an energy scope type thing. I'm actually going to use some sky blue. And it's X14, which means that it's not flat, it's glossy. So it'll give it a little bit of shine to the scope. Alright, let me get that into the camera. Oh, I can't wait for the document camera to come in. Should make doing these streams much nicer for everyone. Because it's really hard for you guys to see the details with how blurry the camera is. Believe me, as much as it bothers you, it bothers me way more. Because I just want to make sure that the stream is nice for everyone to watch, you know? And it bugs me when I can't quite get things looking how I want. That's mainly down to me kind of being a perfectionist when it comes to a lot of stuff, so... There we go. Whew. Alright, so we got that done. I don't need that. I need the NATO brown for doing the rest of the gun. This needs to be shaken more. There we go. Let's put a little bit in to the palette. Let's hit it with a little bit of water. That might be too thin. No, I might need to add some more. Yeah, it might be a little thin. Let's give it a shot and see if it holds. My biggest worry is that it's not going to hold on to the model. And I need to get all the water off of that. There we go. Here we go. Alright, so looking at the picture, yeah, so it looks like we've got all these high areas are brown. There we go. Yeah, actually, you know what? It's actually working pretty well. I think, at least. I think that the paint is showing up pretty well and not being overly, overly wet. Alright, so the back end of the gun is also brown. We just won't hit these high areas with it. It's like this little dot right here. We'll leave gunmetal. And honestly, the paint is drying and looking a tad muddy, but honestly, I think I might like it like that. It gives the gun a really grungy looking feeling, you know? You know what, I'll go over it a little bit more, but I don't want to go too heavy on it. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's hit the top of this. There we go. And we'll hit this. There. Hit the edges here real quick. You know what, actually, foregrip is also round, so we're gonna hit the bottoms of this. That's... Hang on, I'm just gonna take this back from the helping hands temporarily. Actually, I think I can just hold this from this point on. I'm just gonna hit all of that real quick. God, I still gotta do his suit. I'm way behind on this. I feel like part of the problem is Rocket has so many colors in comparison to the other things that I've been painting. But just means we're going to run a little bit long tonight, which I'm perfectly fine with. I hope you are. And I'm sure my dog will let me know if I'm not paying enough attention to her, and that I need to finish up for the night. She's very good about that. Okay, so we hit the bottoms of that. Hit the bottom of that. There. Okay. Got that nice and covered. Let's do... Unfortunately, you're not going to see this because it's in a nook, but little nook over here has got an area that I need to hit with the brown paint. And it does not show up well on the camera, unfortunately. Alright, we need to hit the back grip of this. Get this nice and covered. Trying to stay in front of the mic as much as I can, but I keep leaning in, and I'm wondering if I'm going a bit too far and not showing up on the microphone enough when I go to talk. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Like I said, it's going on kind of thin in certain areas, and it's looking grungy, and I actually like that, because that is the feel that I want for the gun anyway, so... that ends up being the case, all the better. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm liking it. I think I might hit the front of the scope just a tad. The brown. That way it has slightly different tone from the rest of the scope. Just so you can kind of make out the parts more, you know? There we go. It's not too bad. Hit this a little bit. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, we still need to go through and do some shading on it, but we've still got a ton of model left to paint too. I think what I'm going to end up doing tonight is I will go through and do the rest of the model. I will do the detail work on Rocket himself. I am going to do the base off stream. It's not something that I'm sure you're super interested in watching me, paint the base anyway. But I'm going to do the rest of Rockets, and I will do all the highlighting and low lighting on Rocket, and then I will do the base off stream, because that will take me a lot longer. And I don't know how interesting me doing the base work is fun anyway, so. Alright, so we need... You know what? We're actually gonna do... We're gonna do this a little bit differently. We're gonna do this black. So... if you notice on the reference picture, Rocket's suit has like shiny black surfaces on like the strapping and stuff like that, and the back area. So I'm gonna use the regular X1 black on that, and I think I'm gonna do that first. So we'll hit up all the parts of the armor that have the black on it, because they're smaller areas, and then what I can do is I can go over with the orange on the rest of it, and that will help me cover up any overages that I do with the black. So give this a good shake. This is small enough that I think I'm just gonna take the paint right out of the cap. Excuse me. Alright, so we got like the little bottoms of the pants right here are black. And much like the rest of this, I'm gonna go a little bit over on the paint, because what that's gonna end up doing is just giving us enough coverage that if we forget an area, it won't just be primer, it'll be black. And because we're using the regular X1 and not the XF1, because the XF1 would be flat black, we're going with the glossy black, because those parts of his outfits do have a little bit of shine to them. So this will give that a little bit of a shine compared to the flat of the rest of it. And actually, you know what? The orange is not flat, so the whole suit might be shiny, but I might be able to mix it with a little bit of flat paint and get this shine to dull a tad. I will steadily get faster at this, I think. It's just hard, like, especially with this model, there's a lot of little parts that are all different colors. So it's less of a situation of, oh, I can just do this whole thing in this color and then do all the detail work thereafter. there's just too many small pieces that need to be a different color. So here, get up a little bit more of the knee. There. Okay. Looks good. And then he's got like this little strapping across the front, but it doesn't really like, it doesn't show up on the model. But like the sides, the shoulder pads, the unit on the back. Yeah. So we'll do the shoulder pads. There. Okay. Just keep covering this. It's a little tough to do. It's like, can't get a good angle on this. There. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera. Yeah, it's just very hard to like get the paintbrush into that spot. Like I can get it to this area, no problem. But it's trying to get its... And I'm gonna move the mic right there, that way I'm not talking past the mic. If this is getting stringy. I need to probably actually just throw some of this into the palette. So let's do that real quick. We can thin it out. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just, there's a few spots on this where it's just like his arm is in the way, so it makes it really difficult to try to get to, makes it very difficult to try to get to some spots that are in between his body and the gun. So. But we will give it a shot. In the meantime, let me try to hit this a little bit. There. There we go. I'm kind of getting it. It's, again, doesn't really show up well on camera. But we're getting it in there. Doesn't need to be too pretty. It's going to be an area that you're not really going to see on the model. But it's something that needs to get hit just so that there's not bare model showing up kind of thing. Because that's what you don't want to see, is you don't want to see bare model. You know what, I think the jetpack, I'm actually going to hit it with gunmetal. He's got the little thing on his back, like backpack or a jetpack. I think it's a jetpack. I think I'm going to do that in gunmetal instead. But what we'll do is we'll hit it with some black on the edges. That way, again, just give it some coverage. Make sure if we miss some spots, it at least is not showing up as primer. Oops. Yeah, you know what, that's fine. There we go. There. Alright, let's try to hit the sides a little bit. Like this is going to be black. This is going to be black. It's just going to wrap around, and then do orange on the other side. Belt. And no, he's got like a holster type thing, which actually I don't even think doesn't show up on this at all anyway. Alright, that's probably pretty good right there. Yeah, that'll be good. Just gotta make sure hit all little spots enough to give it an actual, like, good coat of black on it. Because right now, it's kind of uneven because I thinned out one side but not the other side, so... Just gonna make sure you get enough on there so it's showing up as the same amount of black on both sides. Here we go. Noticing some spots that I kind of missed when I was first painting this. I'm just gonna fill it in. Need to be it. All right, there we go. All right, so take this orange. Now this is a pretty bright orange. It's a X6. I think I'm going to throw a little bit of the brown in it just to try to darken it a tad, because it's a bit too bright for how I think the suit should look. Like, it's just too like neon orange. Now granted, I could just go bright orange, but I kind of want to not have it be an overwhelming orange for this, so... A sec, I'm just gonna check the phone real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, so throw a little bit of native brown into the orange just to give it a little bit of a darker color. Throw that off to the side. Yeah, see, like, that's kind of going a little too dark, but we can lighten that up a tad. But that is looking... Sorry, it's not showing up well on camera. There we go. That is... Yeah, we can add a little bit more orange to it, and that should... That should get us to the right color that we want. Let me dig into the orange again just to get like another drop of the orange in there. And that should... get us closer to what we want. Yeah, that's close enough, I think. It's about right. Like I said, I don't want to have it be a super bright orange. I want it to just be a little bit of a dark orange. Try to not be blinding compared to the rest of the costume. Yeah, you know what, with the water in there, that's getting to about what we wanted, actually. That's pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. Alright. Let's go through and do this real quick. Oops, sorry. Hitting the light and camera, unfortunately. So I'm getting a little too close. Oh yeah, actually, that is looking pretty dang close to what I wanted for a color. I think that's going to work just fine, actually. Okay, so hit this. We're gonna leave it off of the jetpack so we can do that in gunmetal. There we go. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Oh, so, going into more of my watch through of the stuff I missed in MCU, I gotta say, like, Agent Carter was pretty fun of a show. I wish there was more of it, particularly just to finish the setup that they had at the end of Season 2 for Season 3, because it's a cliffhanger with no payoff, so, it'd be nice to see more of that. But yeah, one of the things that I didn't realize until going into Agent Carter was that they put Jarvis, the butler, in the show, and he's like a major character. He would be the other lead, I would say. So he was a joy to see in that. And I didn't realize that he makes a cameo in Endgame. When they're going back in time, Jarvis is in one of the scenes. He's with Howard Stark when they are going through the military base. And it's like, oh, damn, okay, I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool. It was a thing that, granted, I did not catch at the time, but after the fact, I'm like, hey, that's, you know, that's pretty cool, actually. I like that. Again, it would have been cool to see more Agent Carter. Even if it's just to finish off the cliffhanger, that'd be nice. Although reading some of the stuff online for it, I guess they were gonna make it so that it was Peggy's brother that was the shooter at the end of season 2, where he shot the chief. God, it is tough trying to get right in between the gun and the rest of the model. There's like a few spots that it's like I want to get in there, but I just can't quite reach. Alright, that's good enough for the moment. Got a pretty good amount of coverage. So let's grab the gunmetal, do the jetpack real quick. Here we go. So yeah, it would be nice to have closure on the Agent Carter stuff, but that's how things just play out sometimes, unfortunately. Like, God, great example. Granted, this is a different company, but them completely scrapping Batgirl in post-production, like, what the hell? Just, like, why would you scrap the movie when it's basically done? So it's a bummer because, you know what? It's been said many times, but HBO Max has kind of been like the best of the bunch for streaming services. So it kind of sucks to see that go out the window when the merger took place between HBO and Discovery. Just hit this a little bit, try to get the belt to show up better. There we go. That looks better. Alright. So, we've got a pretty solid base coat on basically everything. One thing I will do, which actually I'm going to do something a little bit different for this. I've got a whole thing of toothpicks right here. I'm going to use a toothpick because it's got a very, very fine tip on it. What we're going to do is I'm going to do the eyes real quick. So, the eyes, there's not much to them. They're just black. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of shine to them. So, artificial shine, because they're already shiny just from the fact that it's regular black and not flat black. But we can give a little artificial shine to the eyes, like I did with Groot's, by just putting a dot on the bottom corner. There. And... whoops. There. That kind of works. There. That kind of works. There we go. So then I'm just going to have to touch up the face because I kind of messed up the snout a bit, but it's easy enough to give it a quick hit of the deck tan and fix the face. So we'll do that. Now Duolingo's yelling at me because I haven't finished my stuff for the day. Everything wants my attention. Because Duolingo wants me to know that I gotta keep my streak going. Because I'm currently up to 2,800 and... no, what am I at? 2,088, I think. 2,088 days streak. I haven't missed a day since I started. Been keeping it going for quite a while. Alright, so that's all set. So now what we're gonna do is I will take the dark gray, give that a mix. You know, we're gonna move this out of the way just so I don't accidentally get stuff on it. I didn't cut down enough toothpicks like I thought I was gonna have plenty. Alright, so we got that. We're gonna do a little bit of a dark gray. So, because we're gonna do the bottoms of stuff with the darker version of it. That way it kind of gives it a little bit more definition to it. I know I say that a lot, but it's the truth. Alright, close this up. There. Got that closed up. Time to mix. And actually, this is not tremendously dark, which is actually ideal, because I want it to be not super duper, like a huge change in tone, because otherwise it makes it look very, very artificial, which I don't want it to do. Okay. So we'll do a little bit on the bottom edges of things. So do like down here. Do the bottoms of here. There. Like that. Basically anything that is going to be outside of the sunlight is the idea. Or not outside of the sunlight, but like on the opposite side of what the sunlight would be hitting. So then we'll do the tail. Like all these bottom areas. I think I might need a fresh cup of water because this is getting a little bit of brown in there and I don't really want that. I used the wrong black for that. It's okay. Honestly, I think I might need a little bit more black in this. This is almost too subtle. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna throw a little bit more black into there. Here we go. Alright. Grab this. Just throw a tad more black, and then what we'll do is we'll just do a smaller area on this. That way it still has a little bit of a subtle change, because this is getting to be pretty black. Come on. Come on, mix together. There we go. That's mellowing out. There we go. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good mix for darkening that up. Alright, so then we'll just hit the very bottoms of things with this. And that should give it pretty deep change in color. Really help with defining where the shadows are on this. Ooh, I actually need to hit the gun again. A little bit of orange paint got on the gun. Got natal brown ready. Let's do a quick layer on the gun. Because right here, we got a little bit of orange on it accidentally. Not what we wanted. There we go. That should fix it. There. Alright, so let's go back to what did we have? So flat Earth was what we're using for the face and stuff. So actually before we do that, what we need to do is we need to lighten up the gray. So, you know what? We're gonna do this real quick. We added a lot to that, so I might actually just take some more dark gray and put that into a different part of the tray, because I think we're gonna be trying too hard to get the gray to lighten up if we're adding it to the already dark gray that's in there. There, that's good. And then grab some whites. There. Go and do that. Let's see if we can get a little bit more white into that. Just really lighten it up a lot. There we go. There we go. Just gotta throw a little bit of water in there. Thin it out just a tad so it blends better. There we go. Alright, close this up. There we go. Alright, so just hit some very high areas on this. I'm actually going to go a little bit more just to try to have better color matching. It's actually drying and looking pretty well blended when it dries. It looks worse when it's wet, so it's actually pretty good. There we go. Alright, so then we hit tops of here. Oh yeah, actually, that looks really, really good. Like, it doesn't look much like I'm highlighting, but it's giving more variety to the fur, which I like. I'm just going to hit a few of the upper areas here, which I know these were more of the like light deck tan area, I believe, but I think that's will actually give it some nice variety. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. I like how that looks. Alright, cool. I will be right back. I am going to go grab a different painter's palette. That way I can start working on the brown areas. I will be right back. Got a bunch of painter's palettes, so I figured I might as well use them. Alright, you know what? One thing we're gonna do real quick. I don't know if this orange is still... That orange might be dead at this point. There's still got a little life in it. Let's see if we can give it a little bit of life. A little bit more life. Do that, and then I can add in some more orange, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while I still have this one active, I can do the highlighting for the suits. There we go. Let's do the suit real quick. Excuse me. Get that nice and highlighted so that we don't have to work on that later and we can save on like mixing a whole bunch of paint again. There we go. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to do less highlighting, and we're going to use what we've already covered as being the low lights, and then like the bottoms of the pants are already done basically because of that. Yeah, that'll work. So like the entire bottom is probably good as far as color goes. I don't need to do too much on the bottom area because that's pretty much as dark as I want it to be, so that'll work. Okay, so now we can switch painters palettes because we're going to go back to Flat Earth and we're going to darken it up and then lighten it up. Alright, so go 1, 2, we'll do 3, and then we'll do 1 spot of black. That way it darkens it. That's regular, I need flat, there we go. Grab a few more toothpicks because I'm going through these things very quickly. Here we go. Alright, so 1 spot of black should be enough. Nope, need more than that. There we go. And this will be for the undersides of anything that is brown. Here. There. Alright, so then let's hit it with some water. Here. And give that another mix. There. That looks good. So, let's go ahead and hit up all the undersides of things. Oh, I need to give this a rinse. It's picking up a bit too much of the water. There we go. There. Oh, so unrelated to Marvel or anything like that, but been starting to play some VR stuff again. Not on stream, obviously, but who knows? I might end up doing some VR stuff on stream. Certainly had a blast when I was playing through Budget Cuts on stream. That is a dang good game. But one game that I started but never really put a whole bunch of time into, which is disappointing, but the game Moss on VR, which is a very, very cute and good game. I need to go through and actually finish that game. And then I found out they came out with a new Moss game. They came out with Moss 2, Moss Act 2, Episode 2. I forget what the titling for it is. But, yeah, they made a new one. And it's like, oh, awesome. I didn't know they were going to make another one. And, yeah, I need to pick it up. Now, granted, I had planned on playing it on the Oculus Quest, but the new Moss game is not compatible with the first quest. It's only compatible with the second quest. So that's unfortunate, but what I can end up doing is I can just buy Moss 2 on Steam or something like that. Because I can just hook up the Quest to the computer, or even better, I can do it wireless to the computer and just do it that way. Because yeah, once I finish up the first Moss game, I definitely want to play the second one, and I would like to be able to do that on my Quest. Okay. Actually, you know what we gotta do? A little bit on the feet. Right back here. The undersides of the feet, like the back leg area kind of thing. And right under here, on the front of the leg. Just gonna hit the tops of the feet a bit because it was missing some spots on it. Yeah, okay. So, take a little bit more of the earth. Do 3 spots of regular, 1 spot of whites. Then we can hit the tops of things. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. There. Alright, so break this stick real quick. Alright, 1 spot of white. Oops, gotta move this out of the way. Going a little bit too fast. Which we should not be doing. It's a Mellow Monday. We shouldn't be rushing this. There. Alright. There we go. There. Ooh, actually, that needs to be mixed a little bit more. It's a little streaky. There we go. This is good too, because this is helping cover up the tops of the ears, which were a little missing some paint there. There we go. Hit the tops of this a little bit. Tops of his whiskers, or his tufts that he has coming off to the side. There we go. Do that. There, and then we just gotta hit tops of all of this. There. Do the rest of this. Oh yeah, and one of the cool things I was going to say about Moss, I imagine this carries over into the sequel too. They actually did sign language, American Sign Language in it for the character of Quill, who is the little mouse that you're guiding through the game. You don't need to know American Sign Language to play, but if you know it, you will be able to tell that Quill is actually communicating to you in American Sign Language. Which is super cute and super cool, because you know what? Anything to make people feel more welcomed and included into the space is just phenomenal. Because as with anything else, doing stuff to include more people in any type of space like that is really nice. You don't see a whole lot of deaf representation, I would say, and I mean, Quill is not deaf. Quill just can't speak. So she communicates in sign language, because that is the easiest thing to make her be able to communicate with you without making her, you know, suddenly speak a language that a mouse generally wouldn't be able to speak. So, so yeah, it's just a nice little thing that they did, and God knows I should probably try to learn more American Sign Language at some point. I did a semester of it in college, but I have most definitely forgotten most of it at this point, which is unfortunate. It's a good language to know. Alright, so here's... Oops, sorry. We've got most of this done. A few things I need to do is I need to... Well, one thing I need to do is I need to take the pink and take the flat black, because we're going to do the inside of the mouth. We did the tongue. We're going to leave the tongue as is. But I need to hit like the roof of the mouth, and I need it to be a darker shade of pink for that. So we're going to do 4 spots of pink. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit more, but that's fine. Do 1 spot of black in this. There we go. Because we just need the interior of the mouth to be darker, and yeah, that's just going to turn into a gray mush. That's fine. It's kind of pinkish if you look at it just right, so I think it'll show up just fine. Again, this I've said this before with Venom, but you're not gonna be looking deep into the mouth on a lot of these things, so it shouldn't matter too much. Yeah, okay. Give that a mix. Ooh, this is actually very, very thin. This is not really holding that much. So, here's what we gonna do. We're gonna hold this upside down, that way it dries. Yeah, the paint is super duper thin and it's not really holding. Here, I'm gonna try just hitting this a little bit. Try to give it enough to pool in the right spot. Yeah, it's not quite holding as much as I would like. There we go. That should be fine. We're gonna let it... We're gonna do this. We're gonna hold it upside down. That way it can take some time to dry. What we'll do in the meantime is we will do the underside of the gun. So we'll take some of this NATO brown. Do 3 dots of this. So 1, 2, 3. You know what? Let's do another one. There we go. 1 spot of black. There. Yeah, that looks good. It's not overwhelmingly dark. There we go. That looks pretty good. So then we're just going to give it a dot of water. And then we will hit the bottom of the gun and get that shaded. God, I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep to this music. It's very relaxing. Okay. So, unfortunately, did this dry? Yeah, it looks like it dried enough, but I'm gonna do like that. There we go. You know what? Here, we're just gonna pull this off. So, we just gotta hit all of the bottom edges of these things. I know this really isn't showing up too well on camera. Part of it is I'm still worried about the paint in the mouth streaking down into the tongue area. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And we just gotta hit this a bit. There we go. Okay, that... You know what? I'm pretty happy with how that turned... Whoops, sorry. Pretty happy with how that turned out. One little adjustment I'm going to make, and this is very, very minor. The jetpack is a little lacking in detail. This is very minor. I am going to give the top of it a little red dot. Just to kind of give it some variation. There we go. It's not much, It's not much, but it gives it just a little bit of difference. And that's what I'm looking for. I just wanted it to be a little difference. So yeah, you know what? I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I will, so one thing I will do off stream while I'm doing the base and stuff like that. The detail work I'm pretty happy with. Like the shading and stuff, is pretty good. One thing I will do off stream is I am going to, aside from doing the base and just finishing that up, well, starting it, honestly, I'm going to go through and do dry brushing. Dry brushing, you've seen me do it before, so it's no big thing, but basically I'm just going to go over and hit some spots. Like, especially fur-wise, I feel like the fur will look so much better with some dry brushing on it. It's so minor, but it really helps things pop more. And with dry brushing fur, it really gives it more of a textured look to it. It makes it look more like fur or hair or stuff like that. So we're gonna do that. It's again, it's super duper minor, but it really helps show off a little bit more detail. But yeah, no, you know what? I'm pretty happy with how this came out. We still got to do the base, but yeah, the rest of it is looking pretty dang good. I'm liking how it turned out. Especially, I know it doesn't show up well on the camera. Again, next week, I will have the document camera, and it should look a heck of a lot better. Because it has auto zoom and it has an adjustable zoom on it, so, or an adjustable focus, I mean. Autofocus and adjustable focus, so you should be able to actually see stuff. But yeah, I'm really liking how this turned out. It came out pretty good, in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there for right now. Like I said, I'll do the base and the dry brushing off stream. But there's not much left to this, and yeah, I think it came out pretty good. I'm looking forward to showing off the finished thing on my Twitter, and I will also show it off on camera at the beginning of the next Mellow Monday stream. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you had a good time. You know I did, as always. And I look forward to seeing you again, and hope you stay safe out there. And I do hope to see you join me tomorrow, when I will be doing another Throwback Log Tuesday. We'll be continuing Gravity Rush 2. So, yeah, I hope everyone has a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever happens to be where you are. And we'll talk to you very soon. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.